Hi, today I will be going over the blood clotting cascade for the Edexcel Biology B A-level course. So when and why does blood clotting occur? Usually it happens when you have a wound to your body or due to disease and bad health. Now this is because high blood pressure, let's say from plaque buildup, strains your blood vessels, and this may cause a rupture over time, triggering the blood clotting cascade. Nonetheless, both cause a rupture to the blood vessels. And why does this happen? Usually to reduce blood loss and to prevent infection if you have a wound on your body. Now let's recap the blood vessel structure. In the diagram you can see that the outermost layer is the collagen layer, then the smooth muscle layer which can contract or relax, the endothelium layer covering the lumen which can again expand or constrict depending on the blood flow. Now the width of vessels and the proportions of each layer will vary depending on which blood vessel you're looking at. Phase 1 of the blood clotting cascade is when the blood vessel ruptures. This exposes the collagen to the platelets, forming a platelet plug. As a result, serotonin is released, which causes vasoconstriction, where your smooth muscle contracts, and therefore it reduces the blood flow and blood loss. The enzyme thromboplastin is also released. In phase 2, calcium ions, potassium ions, and clotting factors react with that enzyme. This converts prothrombin to the enzyme thrombin. In phase 3, thrombin converts soluble fibrinogen to insoluble fibrin. Now, fibrin needs to be insoluble to seal the wound. Imagine if it was soluble, it would just dissolve away. Phase 4 is where fibrin forms a fibrin mesh. Now, this happens by trapping more electrolytes and platelets and erythrocytes and just forming a clot over time. Now let's look at an exam context. So they will rarely ask you to describe the process of a blood clotting cascade. This is just way too easy. They will mainly be explain questions, or where you have to apply your knowledge to scenario, or analyse the data questions using your own knowledge. Let's look at an actual exam question. Blood contains a variety of cells, plasma and clotting factors. Smoking can increase the risk of blood clot formation. An investigation was carried out to determine the effects of smoking on the contents of blood plasma. In the first part of the investigation, blood samples were taken from male smokers and non-smokers aged between 35 and 50. All males were matched for health status, body mass and diet. The concentration of fibrinogen in their blood plasma was measured. And here we have the results in a table. The question continues to say that in the second part of the investigation, blood samples were taken from men aged between 35 and 50 just after waking. Another blood sample was taken just after the men had smoked their first cigarette. The concentration of thrombin present in both blood samples was measured. The concentration of thrombin present in the blood of the non-smokers was also measured. And here we have the results again for this part of the investigation in this table. Analyse the data to explain why smoking can increase the risk of blood clot formation, 4 marks. As you can see, I've kind of highlighted the key words, so analyse to explain why. So we need to use the data that is given to us and our own knowledge to explain why this may be an increased risk. To answer this question, first use the data that is given, describe what you can see. So from looking at the tables, you can say that smokers have significantly higher levels of fibrinogen and thrombin compared to non-smokers. We can also say that the difference is significant, as the standard deviation does not overlap for the two groups. Smokers also have elevated levels of thrombin even before smoking their first cigarette, and you can use some data from the table if you would like. Then you can go on to use your own knowledge to explain what this information is telling you. So you could say that high levels of the enzyme thrombin and fibrinogen result in more enzyme-substrate complexes, and therefore more fibrinogen being converted to fibrin. Higher fibrin production therefore causes more blood clotting, which can increase the risk of a stroke or heart attacks. Now the question didn't specifically refer to other health risks, it just referred to an increased risk of blood clotting. However, mark schemes can be a bit weird sometimes, so especially just include some extra information to ensure that you get as many marks as possible. So here you can see the mark scheme. We got the point that smoking leads to an increased amount of thrombin and fibrinogen. Those levels are significantly higher because of no overlap. in the standard deviation, and then we got the 2 explanation points. Thank you for watching and good luck.